Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work without you guys. Okay, so interesting day today. Actually, one of those days that you really don't like to actually hear some of the things that are going on. We know that Big Ben, as well as three other Steeler players, have been put in the COVID protocol because they've tested positive. We don't know if it's a false negative or whatever test, but there's four players on the Steelers team that have tested positive, as well as other areas as well, including the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles have one of their coaches that have tested positive for COVID, and now they, of course, are meeting virtual reality. I think they're still going to be having practice, not a game now, but they're still talking about having practice at their facilities. As we look at the number spike throughout the NFL, you're seeing more and more players that are beginning to test positive for it. Fortunately, we haven't heard about any players having long-term effects, but basically being out. Like, Cam Newton was out for a couple of weeks and things, and, last night he had a game-winning drive to end up beating the Jets. Wow, is that really game-winning? That's kind of like you should automatically beat the Jets. The Jets are bad, although I can't really talk bad about the Jets because in the last 22 games, the Jets are 7-15. The exact same records that our Cowboys have over the course of the last 15 games. So maybe I shouldn't joke on the Jets so much because we are literally in the same boat. But I think we may have a little more hope of the future that, we lost a lot of players that if we get them back, that we'll probably be at least a better team than they will. We'll be able to turn it around. I mean, they still had the Josh Allen, Sam Darnold. They still had Sam Darnold and were still that bad. At least when we had Dak, we were a little bit better. But be that as it may, the NFL has announced that if games are lost due to COVID, they may expand the playoffs by an additional 2 teams. Now, how does that affect the Cowboys? Well, where we are right now, let's face it, at best, one team from the NFC East will make the playoffs. I don't think there's any chance of our team getting anywhere close to that, but it's nice to at least think that, you mean there's a chance? Well, there's still a chance for us to win the division. With the Eagles actually having now COVID, and you see the Steelers could be without, their quarterback, coming up. Not that I'm saying that we got a chance to beat the Steelers or anything like that, but you see how this situation goes. If the Washington team and the Giant team have something similar like this happen, one of the things you can say about the Cowboys is they've been really good at keeping the COVID away, as well as wins. They've been good at keeping both of those things away. If we could do something about bringing some wins our way, hey, then there's a little more hope. But you just don't know how this stuff will affect the team and all, in general. But the main thing I'm sitting here thinking in my mind is with the Cowboys declaring that the job is automatically Andy Dalton when healthy. I don't understand that one at all. And maybe somebody else can explain that to me because I'm trying to understand what has given you the thoughts that Andy Dalton is the guy. Andy Dalton just got here at the end of the offseason. I mean, in the beginning of the offseason. What you've seen on the field wasn't, great. Look at what happened with him in Cincinnati. They were, a 2-win team last year? And he got benched by a guy who's not even on the team anymore. Andy Dalton looked like he had completely had no confidence whatsoever against the Cardinals. And I'm not saying that he may not be the better quarterback than Garrett Gilbert. But I always thought that you should go with the guy with the hot hand till it ain't hot no more. And there's been so few things about the Cowboys that have been looking well. And I think you need to apply this to a lot of positions because, we've seen some guys that have performed better than others. I'm sitting here thinking, well, I understand Jalen Smith's paid a lot of money, but, when I was watching some of the film and the tape, I'm sitting here looking, and saying that Sean Lee, of course, the veteran, has been playing a lot better, and maybe Sean Lee should be playing more than Jalen Smith, or getting him in there more. I see what the difference that Gallimore made on the defensive line as opposed to Dante Poe. Getting young guys out there that are hungry, that are playing well, you need to reward them, especially because the reality is these older guys cost you more money, and who's to say they're going to be around next year? But these younger guys that are inexpensive, very inexpensive, that you're going to have to rely on because of the lack of having money to go out and buy all these people, given a chance, have more incentive to play. As the old saying goes, it's hard to be hungry when your refrigerator's full. And when I look at Garrett, Garrett Gilbert, Gigi, he came out there with a bit of moxie, a bit of confidence. I'm not saying he's got all the skill in the world. He doesn't. But I'll take a guy that's got heart and is feeling it, that's young, that's trying to make a name for himself, than some of these older guys. And I think you also, right now, need to look at this from a standpoint of, even with Zeke Elliott. Zeke's got the hamstring issue. I'm not saying that Zeke is not valuable to your team, but why put a whole bunch of miles on him? We know we can't trade him. We need him to be 100% when Dak Prescott comes back, or if we're in a position where we are trying to make a move to make the playoffs. Now's a great time to keep that hot hand going with Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is a little more, elusive, and part of the thing that works with Tony Pollard is because he's not Zeke. When people see Zeke in the backfield, it changes what they do on the defense. You see more 8 men in the box. You see teams that say, we're going to make sure Zeke doesn't beat us. When Tony Pollard's there, because Tony Pollard is a threat to catch the football, because he's more of a third down back, the team spread out more because they worry more about the passing. And that's part of the reason why you see him with such big gains. And this is where you need to use some of these things to your advantage. Sometimes I wonder, some of the moves and decisions we make, I don't know what they're based on, because is it about because we decided to bring this guy and pay him a whole lot of money, we're going to keep him on the field because we have to justify our decision? Or is it about getting the best 11 guys on the field? Because there's no way in the world, from what I've seen thus far from Andy Dalton, that I feel like he is one of the best 11 on offense. At least go with the hot hand. I dare say that if push comes to shove, the Cowboys are better off if Garrett Gilbert is better than Andy Dalton, keeping him for another year than paying Andy Dalton a whole bunch more money. So Cowboys, how's your decision process working here? I just want to and you don't have to justify anything to me because I don't own the Cowboys. I feel like I'm part of the Cowboys, but I don't own it. But I just like the justification of the reason behind Andy Dalton being the starter. Inquiring minds would like to know. I'm, a lot of people don't like to think about the whole COVID. Oh, by the way, one more thing. Happy birthday to all the Marines out there and the Marine Corps, which is 245 years old today. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday, Marine Corps, as well as Mike McCarthy. But I know a lot of people don't like to think that COVID exists, or you're just tired of it and things like that. But as we start to see these numbers that are growing like crazy, I was seeing that Philadelphia is looking at, the health department is looking back into lockdowns, that this thing is growing and spreading like crazy like that. All I ask is this, man, I know a lot of you don't believe it and things like that, but, the state I live in, when this thing first happened, numbers were through the roof, through the roof. My governor went through and the state to say, wear a mask. And people did. And our numbers are still some of the lowest numbers in the country. If there's a chance that you wearing a mask increase your odds of not getting this and getting sick, why wouldn't you take the chance? I just don't understand that. I just don't understand that. It's kind of like a seatbelt. Seatbelt's not guaranteed to save your life, but your odds are a lot better if you are in that bad accident if you do. Right? All right, y'all. I will talk to you all later.